Welcome back to episode 44 here on the Courtland, Minnesota 4X Mega Dairy Farm. Today we're right back out in the fields continuing our spring field prep for year 3. And that means one thing. We're going all in on solid manure spreading as we get these fields ready for another round of crops. Last episode was a big one as we made a massive investment into upgrading this entire operation. After spending over $700,000, we brought in 2 of the largest solid manure spreaders in the game, along with a pair of brand new superior in-dump trailers. And already, this setup is proving to be a huge upgrade. Each one of these spreaders holds 60,000 liters, which means with both of them running together, we're putting down 120,000 liters of manure at a time. And when you see them working side by side, they are covering some serious ground. On top of that, the new in-dump trailers have been a game changer for hauling. With a capacity of 87,000 liters each, we're able to move massive amounts of manure out of the dairy and into the fields much faster, creating large stockpiles that we can continuously load into our spreaders without slowing things down. Now here in this 150-acre field, we've already made some really solid progress. Between both spreaders, we've put down over 250,000 liters of manure so far, but we're not quite finished yet. We've still got a few passes left, along with the headlands, before this field is completely wrapped up. So to kick things off today, we're going to jump into the Volvo L180H wheel loader, start scooping up manure, and get both spreaders fully loaded back up. Once they're ready, we'll send both the Case IH Quadtrac 785 and the John Deere 9570 RT back out on course play so they can finish off the rest of this field. And after that, we've got something a little different planned. We're going to hop into the Chevy Silverado and take a trip across the map to check out a new piece of land that I've been looking at purchasing. After selling off all of our grain over the winter, we've got over $2 million sitting in the bank, and I think it's time we put that money back into the farm. There's a 150-acre field on the north side of the map that has caught my attention, and if everything checks out, this could be a perfect addition to the operation as we continue expanding here in year 3. So for now, let's get these spreaders refilled, get them back out into the field, and finish up this 150-acre job, and then we'll start making our way over to take a look at that new land. Once we arrive at the new field, I'll check back in and explain what the plan for the day is going forward. Let's get to work. If you're looking forward to this new mega farm series on Courtland, Minnesota 4X map, please like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. All right, so we've made it over to the new piece of land that I've been looking at. And this right here is going to be field 63. This field comes in at just under 145 acres, and it's going to cost us a little over $1.2 million. Now, that is definitely not a small investment, but at the same time, adding nearly 150 more acres to this operation is going to be huge for us as we continue to scale up the mega dairy farm. Taking a look at the soil, the pH levels are actually in pretty good shape, so we shouldn't need to worry about lime right away for the first crop. But the nitrogen levels are sitting at 0, which gives us a perfect opportunity to jump right back into manure spreading and really take advantage of everything we've got stored back at the farm. We've still got around 900,000 liters of solid manure sitting at the dairy. So bringing this field into the operation gives us another massive area where we can put that manure to good use and boost our yields going into this season. Now with that done, let's head back over and check in on our spreading operation. At this point, both spreaders should be finishing up the final passes and getting into the headlands on that 150-acre field. We'll jump back into the Volvo L180H, clean up the rest of that manure pile sitting on the edge of the field, and get both spreaders topped off one last time so they can finish the job without stopping. Once that field is fully wrapped up, we'll go ahead and load the wheel loader onto the step deck trailer and haul it back to the mega dairy farm. And from there, we're going to shift gears and start preparing for the next phase. We'll begin loading up both of our Superior in-dump trailers with manure and start hauling it over here to field 63 so we can build up a massive stockpile right on site. That way, when we bring the spreaders over, everything will already be staged and ready to go, and we can hit the ground running on this new field without wasting any time. This is where the operation really starts to scale up. Let's get back and keep things moving. So now that we got both of those in dump trailers loaded up from our solid manure storage back at the Mega Dairy Farm, that's another 174,000 liters of manure heading out to the fields, which is a pretty massive amount in just one trip. Before we send them straight over to the new field though, I've actually routed both trucks back over to field 12 just to double check that our spreaders had enough material to fully finish that job. If everything looks good once they arrive, we'll go ahead and send both trucks on their way over to our new field, where we'll start dumping loads and building up a large on-site stockpile of manure. Now, while we're still back here at the farm, we're not going to waste any time. I'm going to fire up the Case IH Steiger 535, get hooked up to our Hilco HC 1010 Harrow cart, and send that setup down to field 12 as well. Once both spreaders have completely finished up and cleared out of the field, we'll jump into that tractor, get a course set up, and start working the ground. This pass is going to do a lot for us. It's going to work all that manure and lime into the soil, improve our field conditions, and at the same time mulch everything down to leave us with a really clean, well-prepared seedbed for planting. So while one part of the operation is moving manure around, the other side is already getting a head start on field prep. And that's exactly how we want to keep things running here. Let's keep everything moving and get this next stage underway. All right, so now that our manure spreading operation is completely finished up on field 12, we've gone ahead and moved everything over here to field 63. And we've already got the first couple trailer loads dumped and ready to go. But before we jump straight into spreading, I want to take a little bit of time to properly stage this operation. Right now, we've only got a small pile started, but with this field's nitrogen levels sitting at 0, we're going to be putting down a lot more manure here compared to what we just did on field 12. So instead of constantly hauling back and forth, the plan is to build up a large stockpile right here on the field so we can keep both spreaders running continuously without any downtime. What I'm aiming for is at least 6 full trailer loads brought over here. That should put us at well over 500,000 liters of solid manure staged and ready to go. And that should be more than enough to fully cover this entire field and get it prepped for planting. Once we got that stockpile built up, that's when we'll really kick this operation into gear. I'll get both the Case IH Quad-Track 785 and the John Deere 9570 RT set up on a brand new course-play course for Field 63 so they can start working efficiently across the entire field. And to keep everything running smoothly, I'm also going to set up a dedicated auto drive route inside the field. The idea is to have both tractors automatically pull up to the stockpile, wait in position, and then I'll use the Volvo L 180H loader to quickly load them up with manure. Once they're full, they'll head right back out into the field, pick up exactly where they left off, and continue spreading, creating a constant, uninterrupted workflow. That way, we've got one part of the operation focused on loading and the other focused on spreading, all working together at the same time. This is where having the right system in place really starts to pay off. Big equipment, big fields, and everything running as efficiently as possible. Let's get a few more loads hauled in and start building up this stockpile. All right, so now that we've managed to get 6 full trailer loads hauled over here to Field 63, we got a really solid stockpile built up and ready to go, which means it's finally time to get this manure spreading operation fired back up. Before we can do that, though, we need to bring in our loader. So I'm going to get the Volvo L180H loaded back up onto the step deck trailer, haul it over here to Field 63, and that's going to be the key piece of equipment for keeping everything moving. Once it's on site, we'll be able to quickly load manure straight from the stockpile into both spreaders and keep them running without any delays. And honestly, as this farm continues to grow, this is one area where I think we could really benefit from another upgrade. Having a second large wheel loader would make a huge difference. Keeping one station in the field while the other stays back at the dairy would allow us to run everything much more efficiently without constantly moving equipment back and forth. But for now, this setup is still working really well, and we're able to keep things moving at a pretty good pace. Once we get over to Field 63, we'll unload the wheel loader, get both of our massive manure spreaders fully topped up, and then finally start laying down manure across this entire field. And this is where things really start to come together. Between the size of this field and the amount of manure we've staged here, we're going to be spreading hundreds of thousands of liters and covering a serious amount of ground in a short time. This is exactly what expanding the farm is all about. Bigger fields, bigger equipment, and bigger workloads. Let's get this loader moved over and get this operation rolling. Well, guys, that is going to wrap things up for today's episode here on the Courtland, Minnesota 4X Mega Dairy Farm. We made some really solid progress today. Finishing up manure, spreading on field 12, getting that ground fully worked up and ready for planting, and then making a huge investment by purchasing field 63 and adding nearly 150 acres to the farm. On top of that, we got a full manure operation moved over here, built up a massive stockpile, and now we've officially started spreading on this brand new field. This is exactly the kind of expansion we've been working toward. Bigger fields, more capacity, and putting all of our equipment to work at a much larger scale. Next episode, we're going to keep pushing hard here on field 63, get this entire field fully spread, and continue working our way through spring field prep so we can start planting as soon as possible. Everything is starting to come together here in year 3. And things are only going to keep getting bigger from here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and as always, I really appreciate all the support. I'll see you guys in the next one.